What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits. IDK, good morning. Good to see you. I like that pancake. I could go for that right about now. And of course, my man Bio, what is happening? Greetings to you. As let's get the banners. Let's get everything up here. Here we go. Let's get this sports talk podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it, started. And it is July the 8th, 2026. In fact, on this day, I should probably start doing that a little bit more. I thought about that earlier this morning when I looked at the date. It was 26 years ago to the day that Mike Piazza got beamed in the head by Roger Clemens at Yankee Stadium. And that was a day-night doubleheader. I'll never forget it. During the day, the Mets played the Yankees at Shea Stadium because the series was at Shea, and earlier that year when the Mets went to Yankee Stadium, one of the games were rained out. So therefore, that was actually the month prior, it was in June. So therefore, they had to remake or replay the game there that Saturday night. And in the afternoon game where Bobby Valentine, the first batter, got thrown out of the game, Dwight Gooden pitched for the Yankees, went into the fifth inning, or into the sixth inning, I should say, pulled after 5, but Tino Martinez hit a home run to start off the top of the sixth. So Dwight Gooden was the pitcher of record, and he ended up winning 3-2, and then they bust over from Shea to Yankee Stadium. And what happened? I believe it was, bottom of the first, or top of the first, where Piazza gets beaten in the head. And we all know what happened after that, but I just thought to throw that out there for the hell of it. Who knows? Maybe even our guy, Waffle Iron Walrus, a.k.a. Tatsuya Mai, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Rhoda Penmark, Everyday Mets, Dad's Chips, Sky Boy Bull. He'll be on here, and I'll probably remember that as well. But anyway, here we are, full stream into the month of July. Share your thoughts for those who are starting to populate in the chat room. Please do so. I'll get to the comments throughout, unlike the podcast where obviously I talk about what's going on in sports and then I get to your comments afterwards. Here I'm in and out as I go through certain topics, etc. And for those watching on the replay, leave a comment anyway, please, because I'll follow up. I always do. And I try my best to follow up on all the shorts and the content that I put up. And I know I'm always behind, so my apologies to everybody, but I do get to them because I appreciate those who take the time out to leave a comment, whether it's they agree, disagree, debate, whatever. And that's the whole point of having this live stream, is to do just that. So before I get to what is going on, Cole in the house. That's an AKA right there, AKA J-Rod. So Fuqua Johnson, AKA Waffle Iron Walrus, is not the only one with the AKAs. We got J-Rod, AKA Cole. And, of course, Val, first like, my diehards in the house. I love them. Late. You're not late. You're right on time. It's all good. Giants lost there. Yeah, Mets, Giants. I tell you, what a nightmare. That Met game last night. They were up 9-4 in the game. They lose 16-12. Oh, my God. And then Fishing Angel, good morning. Oh, good afternoon now. It's after 12. So cheers. There he is, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Rhoda Penmark, Tatsuya Mai, Kai Boo Bull. Now it's Waffle Iron Walrus. Also, can't forget Fuqua Johnson. He had gone Fuqua for the longest time, I believe, out of all the AKAs. Jonathan Sean Cup, Everyday Mets. Maybe that was the longest one. It has to be, right? Waffle Iron, the longest name that you got. You went Fuqua with an FU, and obviously I'm not saying FU to you there, Fuqua. And then you went PHU. So, Toppers in the house. Yes, Bio. I know last night against the Rockies, fastest player ever to 300 home runs. I mean, he could retire tomorrow. He's in the Hall of Fame. Goes without saying. Tigers, I got to take a better look. I know obviously last week sweeping the Yankees in the fashion they did, but they have played better. Toppers, good morning. I know it's morning in your neck of the woods, so that I'll give you. But, oh, look at this. Hey, I didn't have to work today. I slept in. Good for you, Fishing Angel. Glad you're here as always. Yes, Toppers. Thanks for stopping by. And I had Tatsuya Mai the longest. Was that? You know what? That may be right. Tatsuya. Okay. Because I know you've used Fuqua for quite some time. So, yes. You know what's funny? Zip, my man, welcome. Greetings to you. How long till football? Somebody had posted, I think this past Sunday, I think about this. We are 10 Sundays away from the NFL season. I don't even want to wrap my head around that. And on top of that, who has the earliest training camp? I think the Rams and Niners may have, because they have the Australia. No, maybe not. Let me see. NFL training camps. I think, who was the first one to open? Yeah, well, the Seahawks, of course, where the rookie's on the 17th. The Hall of Fame game is Cardinals-Panthers. I mean, anybody's going to watch that. God bless you. But, yeah, Seahawks 17th, Niners 18th. I'm sure the Rams will follow right after that. I mean, think about it. We are literally 9-10 days away from training camps opening. Now, I get it. The rookies will come in there in Seattle the 17th, 18th, and I'm sure the veterans will report probably on the 20th, if that's my guess. So we are literally less than 2 weeks away from training camps opening throughout the sport. I believe the Steelers open the 28th. Cheers. This is watermelon juice. I had to tap this out because I started my day off with a run. Wasn't feeling too good this morning. So I said, let me sweat out some toxins. Went out. It's about, 82 degrees. But when I went out to run around 10 o'clock, it's 81 right now. So I had to be in the mid-70s. I mean, it's perfect. And the last 2 days have been rainy and crappy here. Oh, there wasn't much rain yesterday. But the weather's nice. But I think, we're going to get some warmer weather next week. Not that it's going to be cold. I mean, mid to upper 80s is still summer. But anyway. So, yeah, NFL's coming there, Zip. I know you're excited about your G-Men. So I'll be here before you know it. And you know me, I'm not looking forward to football, at least not right now. Tigers get within 5 of 500 for an all-star break to have a chance. Yeah, let's see where the Tigers are right now. That I should know. And obviously, if the Tigers play the Yanks, they will not be afraid of them, even though the Yankees have hit the skids here a little bit. Shout out to Ray Condi, who's a big Yankee fan. Now, Tigers. Now, of course, forget about the division, but the wild card. Yeah, I mean, 6.5, that's not terrible. And in the wild card, I know I'm going to have to start looking at the wild card. I said I was going to do that on the podcast starting Monday. We'll take a look at the wild card because we are still I know less than a month from the trade deadline, but obviously we're well past the halfway mark. Once we get to Monday's podcast, I'll go through the wild card scenario. Tigers are 5 back. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, every team's in the mix except for the Royals and the Angels. I mean, come on. And the Royals are 8.5 back. But look at their record. They're 38-54. Come on. But everybody else, from Athletics, Tigers, Orioles, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Twins, Astros, Rangers, all those teams are separated by 5 games. And you want to throw in the Guardians, who are a half game ahead of the Rangers. You have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 teams separated by teams. Let me enunciate properly. 9 teams separated by 5.5 games. And the Guardians right now with the White Sox, what are they? A game back. So, yeah, Tigers in the mix. Goes without saying. Giants, yeah, that's not good. September 3rd, the countdown has begun, and we know what the 3rd is. That's not the NFL season, people. That is Michigan football. Yeah, exactly. Toppers, I'm with you. Please, no football. I know. And I'm one. It's so weird. For as long as I've watched sports, and I always look forward to football, but to me, when even preseason, people, are you ready for some football? I can stop. No. And I know for those who've watched and listened for a long time, it's not as if I have anything against the NFL. And, whenever I can take my shots at them, I will. But to be fair and to be real, just like with all the sports, like my brother, Justin, who lives in South Florida, he gets geeked up on the NBA Rookie League and all those games. I please, there's no way. I'm not watching that. I'm not getting wrapped up in it. I could care less. The exhibition stuff, forget about it. I'm not getting into that. Baseball, I don't really watch any of those games either. Now, because living in the Northeast and just trying to get past winter, you start thinking of those warm thoughts, although it doesn't get warm right away, but you at least have that hope and the thought of warmer weather is not too far in the distant future. So that's why, even though I really don't pay attention to exhibition baseball, but because it's there late February into March, it's like, oh, all right, I can start to see the light. And we turn the clocks up, the days get longer, etc. NFL, I can't be bothered with the preseason football. And yeah, when it's here, that means it's the end of summer. That means the days are shorter. And yes, the weather is impeccable when you get to mid to late September into October and then into early November. Once you get to November 10th, forget it. Pull the plug. And I understand Thanksgiving and the Christmas holiday and New Year's, and then you get ready for the postseason in the NFL. All right, I get that. And hey, listen, I'm on top of it, as you all know. But no, toppers, I'm with you, buddy. So yes, I agree. Sonya, last rookie. Oh, that's good for the Niners. Wasn't aware. Cole don't pass him on the high side. Gotta love Days of Thunder. Yes, of course, that's where Cole trickles from. Fishing Angel, of course. You shocked Switzerland beat Kalema? I am, and I'm going to get into that to start in a matter of moments. Obviously, I'm getting to the comments first. And for those that are popping into the room, I see, welcome. I'm glad you're carving out precious time out of your day. I'm going to get to some of the hot topics here in sports. I'm just going through the stream of comments here. Bio, drink some kombucha tea. I'm not a fan of kombucha. And I got to open up to that because I know kombucha is excellent. All the probiotics, good for your gut, etc. And you would think I'd be all over it. And yeah, I'm just drinking, this is cold pressed watermelon juice, which is just about tapped out. And I have another one in the fridge. My juicer's back there. I can't live without that. But cold kombucha stinks though. I know I've got to get more accustomed to that. But which one do you drink, Bio? I'm curious. Pitching was bad? Hell, you want to talk about pitching? What about the Mets? But yes, Val. Has the team ever made the playoffs with a losing record? In baseball? I think the closest, off the top of my head, there are two teams that come to mind. Of course, my 73 Mets, who were 82 and 79. They didn't play that final game because they didn't need to. They had a doubleheader in Chicago, and they won the first game, and I believe they didn't have to play the second game because they already had clinched the NL East at that time. Remember, that was before wild cards. And then the 06 Cardinals beat the Mets. They won 83 games that year and won a World Series. But I don't think there's been any team that's been under 500 to qualify for the playoffs. Let me look that up, though. But those are the two teams that we're close to. Is any team with a record under 500? But that's a good one, J-Rod. I like that. Or Cole. It's probably going to say no. Oh, yeah, that doesn't count. Yeah, the two teams that qualified. Is that right? Why don't I remember that? With the Astros. Yeah, in the pandemic year, the Astros and the Brewers both made it into the postseason. They were 29 and 31. And the thing about the Astros, if you remember that COVID year, they were down 0-3 to the Rays in the League Championship Series. And they came back to the point where they went to a Game 7. And I forgot in that Game 7, I don't think the Rays won 4-1. So I don't think they were trailing in the game. Or maybe I got to go back and look at that. But could you imagine the Astros 29-31 were one game away from going to World Series? But again, it's the COVID year. It counts, I understand, but not over an 162-game season. Now, it's funny because here they are. They do mention the 05 Padres were 82 and 80. And it shows the 73 Mets, 82 and 79. And then, then they don't even have the Cardinals here. But the Cardinals are 83 and 79, and they won the World Series. So, also I have H2O there too. So, because the watermelon juice wasn't going to cut it, especially after my run. Let's see. What do we got here? I've been watching NBA Summer League. Next, Kobe Bryant. Well, not Darren Peterson. And good for you, Waffle Iron, that you're watching the NBA Summer League. I can't. I know I said the Rookie League. It's the Summer League. I'm ready for football to start. Hey, especially the Wolverines. I know. I can only imagine you and Cole are chomping at the bit. Hey, Jumpy Cloudy, welcome. I appreciate you. Switzerland, Columbia was boring. I'm going to get to that game in a moment. Yeah, thank you, Toppers. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. The end was interesting, though. The end was, and Columbia, I know the one player, the one striker who had that golden opportunity there in the stoppage time. I don't think it was in the extra time, where it was almost a 2-on-0, and it went over the crossbar. The novice is on top of it. Excellent. Only time ever. Yes, baseball. I know it's funny to see Cole there because I remember I called you Cole a lot, and then J-Rod, I was like, oh, no, it's J-Rod. But interesting. Propel strawberry, guava water. I hate tea. Sweet tea is the only tea I will drink. Yeah, sweet tea is good. I try to stay away from that only because the amount of sugar, but it is so good. Not right. I know it hasn't happened in football. Oh, you know it has happened in football. Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of teams. Look at last year. Didn't Carolina make the playoffs at 8 and 9? And they won the division. Yeah, we definitely have seen that a lot. Homemade sweet tea. Oh, yeah, nothing beats that. I agree with you. Darren Peterson. And listen, he has talent, and we've talked about this here before. The thing about Peterson that would scare me, and of course that's not going to happen now, is he going to be taking himself out of games, load management, that type of thing? That's the only thing I'd worry about. Zip, you're a Wolverine fan too? I didn't know that. Oh, Cole and Fishing Angel, forget about it. Obviously they live in Michigan, but they've been Wolverine fans forever. Sam, wow, look at that. I love it. When did soccer become rollerball? Jeez, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. Look at the name of this guy. Max and Fart. All right. Play Roblox Rivals. That's a good one, Zip. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to get to it. And of course, he'll probably show up the minute I post this because he's made a lot of posts talking about how this sport sucks and, it's boring. It's this and that. But I got to start off with this, people. So you got to bear with me for this for a second. So I'm going to talk big picture first, and then I'm going to get into what you saw in the thumbnail and the title as far as the U.S. goes. But first, as you know, and nothing against the sport, I'm not a huge soccer fan, although I did say that I was going to follow once we got closer, did a little pseudo preview. I mean, nothing extensive, but that I would get into it once we got into the tournament. And I have to say, this tournament has been tremendous. I mean, it has been a grand slam, as you see there in the headline. Now, am I watching every second of this? I'm not. Hand raised high in the air. Got to be real with you guys. But what I've seen here is just, it's been unbelievable. And we talked about it Monday with the Brazil-Norway game, how that unfolded, especially with Erling Haaland, where everybody's thinking that, I get it, everybody's talking about Lionel Messi, and of course I'll touch on him in a minute. But what Norway has done to get to this point, France, obvious, and I picked France to win the whole thing in the beginning, not going out on a limb. I just thought that what happened there a few years ago in the last World Cup, that they would come back and avenge that. You had the Mexico-England game, which was an all-timer. You had the Portugal game against Spain, which, for whatever the reason, in the 91st minute, Portugal all of a sudden was flat-footed, and Spain gets the go-ahead goal there late, which is the swan song and bye-bye for Cristiano Ronaldo. And listen, Portugal had their chances, but for whatever the reason, yeah, they just fell asleep there. And we've seen a lot of that here, especially over the last few days, which I'll get to. But between the games that I mentioned, obviously the Portugal-Spain game there Monday, yesterday, I mean, what could you say? And I'll segue that into this. Now, I know that the people in Egypt, whether fans, the team, the coach, forget about it. If this was actually, and I don't know if he could get fined, I'm sure he could, for the comments that he made. Oh, they want Argentina to stay in the tournament and all this stuff. And let me tell you something. Does he have a legitimate gripe? He does, because Egypt had a goal taken away from them based on a foul that happened right before that goal, which was similar to the game tied at 2 there late in the stoppage time, to where there was a foul that wasn't called. And what happened? The long kick, and next thing you know, Argentina is heading it right into the goal. No, I believe that was, I'm getting my goals mixed up. Was the header in the, no, it was that game. And Argentina goes up 3-2. Now, if you didn't watch the game and you saw and you heard about the controversy, you're going to think to yourself, oh, geez, I can't believe it. That's how they lost. Oh, that's nonsense, whatever. It's legitimate. But did you know that Egypt had a 2-0 lead going into the 79th minute? That is similar to a team up by 14 points, we'll say in the NBA. Or how about, you want to say San Antonio and the Knicks, where they had whatever, I don't want to say the 29-point lead because that was in the third quarter, but let's just say they had a 10-point lead with 3 minutes to go and they gagged the game. Or if you want to say Red Sox Mets, 86, game 6, where the Red Sox were 5-3, bottom of the 10th, 2 outs, nobody on, and they end up losing the game. Egypt had a 2-0 lead in the 79th minute. They get closer with a goal. Then there's a flurry in front where they look like they try to kick it out, and then Messi hits the crossbar and it goes in, where they tie the game. And then that led to the final goal in the stoppage time, where it was controversial because there was a foul deep in the Argentina end. But as they go to the other side, where they didn't have a 2-on-1, but next thing you know, there was a play where to the left of the goal, where passed across and then boom, headed right in. And next thing you know, Argentina's up 3-2. They go ahead, win the game or win the match, and that's it. But yes, an epic comeback, but to me, that's more of an Egyptian collapse. You can't lose that game. I'm sorry. And I understand it's Argentina. I understand it's Lionel Messi. I get all that. But that is a brutal loss. And I understand that there's some sour grapes and the coach is just railing against the refs and FIFA, etc. But can you hang on there? And they couldn't even hang on. Once that goal was scored, it was almost as if, I don't want to say they forgot to play, but they were just wishing the time to go away. And I understand that the goal that was disallowed earlier, people could say, oh, that could have been the goal to win the game. Well, we don't know that. Because, yeah, we could think that, oh, it could have been 3-3, and then it would have went into the extra time, and then we had the possible penalty kicks, but we don't know that. But when you have a 2-0 lead late in that match, all right, you give up a goal, fine. And I get it that call should have been made. But that team shouldn't have been in a position to lose that game the way they did. That's it. End of story. It kind of reminded me of the Senegal, which was another great game, with Belgium and Senegal. And how Senegal had that lead and they spit it up also. So, and then, of course, you had the nightcap there yesterday with Switzerland and Colombia. Oh, before I even get to that, let me get to Messi here. Because, again, do I even need to praise him any more than he already is? And I get it. That was an enormous goal, tied the game. and you could see that he was overwhelmed with emotion at the end of the game. And I thought it was a little bit too much, I'll be honest. And I don't understand why. I mean, listen, I am a soccer novice. Maybe somebody could add to these comments and say, oh, Jay Reels, that's how they do it. It's tradition. It's whatever. Game is over. All right. Come back. They're on the field just out of their gourds. Both teams. Same that we saw with Portugal and Spain. But does it take them 20 minutes to get off the field? I mean, I would think that, all right, you hug it out. You're just like, oh, my God, I'm amazed. And that's it. They're hanging out in the field. They're not even going anywhere, which I don't understand. I mean, that's almost like if a team wins a baseball game in the bottom of the ninth and they're just hanging out in the field there and they're just, all right, well, we're not going to leave. We're just going to sit on the field. So somebody could chime in on the comments just to inform me of that because, yeah, I didn't understand that. But then you had Switzerland and Colombia, and I know there were some opportunities there late. I know the Colombian goalkeeper made a great save there where he dove to the left. Fantastic. And then prior to that, where Colombia had an excellent opportunity and it was saved there by the goalkeeper. But that one, it was almost a 2-on-0. I know it was up the right side, and they had the one striker who passed it off to the other, who was a left-handed kicker. I can't remember his name. And, oh, my God, and the thing is that the oncoming defender, and I'm sure that's what altered his shot because he had to rush it a little bit. And even though he still had point blank a great opportunity to try to kick that into the net, but because of the defender or the oncoming defender, he had to rush it, and therefore it sailed over the left corner of the net, and you could just tell by his reaction, he was just beside himself, that if he just had another split second, he would have had a cleaner attempt, and who knows, maybe it would have gone under the crossbar into the net, and that would have been it. Now, as we know, just because a team scores in the stoppage or even extra time doesn't mean the game's over. It's not sudden death. But you figure that'd be demoralizing to the Swiss, and the next thing you know, Colombia goes on to win. But as we saw, it went to penalty kicks, and that was it. Game over, where the Swiss connected 4 or 5, and Colombia were only able to get 3 of the 5. So now you have a situation where you have your quarterfinals set over the next few days. But before I even get to that, I have to get to this. Now, you've heard me talk about this team from the start of the tournament, and even after those first 2 victories against Paraguay and Australia, where a lot of people were geeked up, and I thought to myself, all right, no Christian Pulisic, no. They don't have their top player. Chris Richards was a guy that was injured, didn't know what his status was going to be. And for the U.S. to have those 2 great outcomes, and even in the loss to Turkey, where they scored 8 goals in the 3 games, we haven't seen an outburst like that for the American team in forever. And even though Bosnia, another team that first time in that part of the pool where it may not have been the deep end, but it was deep enough, and the Americans were able to capitalize. And we knew Belgium was going to be tough. We talked about the Senegal game, how that could have been Senegal there at that game instead of Belgium. Cheers, water. Yeah, I'm thirsty, guys and gals. But for this game the other night, and I talked about this Monday when I previewed the game, and we know about the whole scenario regarding Fol Balogun, how the red card was suspended. He was coming back, and then even the president came in and chimed in to talk to FIFA to see whatever, and then people want to say, oh, look at that. There he is again. He jinxed the Knicks in game 3 because he was at the Garden, and now he jinxed the USC. I mean, whatever. You want to look at it that way? Fine. Whatever. But how I looked at this game was that I thought this was going to add fuel to the Belgium fire because, yeah, did the coach, it's April Fool's Day now on July, whatever, 5th. And I was like, all right, pipe down. But, okay, maybe that was a tactic to use toward his team to say, all right, well, they're going to have one of their top strikers in there. But now let's see if we could try to run through them. And remember, they beat them back in March, as I talked about before. And for them to come out 9 minutes out of the gate to score the opening goal where it looked like the U.S. was flat-footed. I mean, I could have kicked that into the net. I mean, everybody's kind of standing around. Pass goes out in front, and then the guy who's another defender that was there, but the striker just, boop, that was it. So that wasn't a good sign right there from the start. And then with the free kick where Malik Tillman, excellent kick, what was that, in the 31st minute? You thought, all right, U.S. on the board, momentum, crowd, energized, pumped up, raring to go. And then not even 2 minutes later, what happens? Belgium scored, which to me, that turned the whole game around. Because if they didn't score there, and even let's say they would have scored later in the half or what have you, who knows? We certainly wouldn't know how the game is played out. But to me, this is almost similar to baseball when, let's say you're up 3-0 and you come up in the top of the second and that team puts a crooked number up. To me, that's the advantage of the visiting team. Or just like in hockey, when you score a goal there late in the period to go into the, let's say, first period or first intermission or second intermission, to me, that's a momentum builder. So by Belgium scoring that goal, I believe what was in the 33rd minute, whatever life that was in the building and whatever that captivated the crowd and got everybody revved up and said, all right, now it's our time, let's go. The air was sucked right out of the balloon. And then I don't know what the goaltender Matt Freese was doing on that. I mean, I get it. He was trying to be aggressive, trying to make a play, but man, that was as boneheaded as it gets. For him to come out of the net as far as he did, and I get it. Once you're outside, you can't corral the ball. You have to try to do something. And yeah, it was a fumble, bumble, stumble. And next thing you know, I could have kicked that into the net. And I get the defender try to go back to stop it. And of course, he can't use his hands. So he's in a tough spot because I'm sure the first thing you're thinking of, even as a lifelong soccer player, is to do whatever it takes to get the ball down. And unfortunately for him, and the ball was kicked well. It wasn't kicked hard. But with the player trying to backtrack and trying to do whatever he can to either kick it or get his body. And right, when you watch it, like, oh, what are you doing? But you might as well have your hands tied behind your back and try to make that play. It's tough. But the Americans were sloppy. And let's face it. Let's get to the big picture, even when it comes to this American team. And then on top of that, Belgium tacks on another goal. They win 4-1. I mean, it was just a dud, a thud for the Americans. They picked the worst time to have just an awful performance. But really, this is what it boils down to. They're just not as good. They're not as good as these teams. And you could ask the question, why can't the U.S. stack up against the elite teams in the World Cup? Which is going to lead to my next question. And I talked about this briefly on the channel. If you've watched, I put a couple of shorts up. And then I'm reading articles today. Oh, well, this is why the U.S. Now it's like, oh, 2 days after they lose, now you're coming up with this stuff. And I'm not trying to make me out to be Mr. Groundbreaking News by any stretch. But here's somebody who doesn't follow it as closely as maybe a lot of the people, soccer media, whatever it may be. And the first thing I thought to myself, and watching that game there on Monday night, and it was tough because I was at my in-laws and I'm like trying to watch and trying to get involved, and then halftime to run back and watch. And at that point, after that third goal, I was like, this game's over. I mean, I can't see the U.S. coming back. But they're not anywhere near the stratosphere of Spain, Argentina, France, England, even Germany, who I understand got knocked out right before, right there, in the round of 32. There's no way. They cannot stack up to those teams. And we talked about it prior to the start of the tournament, where, to me, if they got to a quarterfinal, and let's say they would have played Spain and lost, you would have said, all right, well, we got this far. And because these games were on home turf, and not to say because they were here that they should have won or whatever, but that to me, that was just a terrible display. And again, they picked the wrong time to have that type of performance. But even when I was watching it, I said, The U.S., they can't hang with these teams. They're not as good. And I don't care if you bring in the Mauricio Pochettino, I can't pronounce his name, the coach, who I understand they pay big-time money and has a lot of experience, et cetera, and knows his way around the block. But I don't care if you have the Vince Lombardi or the Bruce Bochy of soccer going there. If you don't have the players, forget about it. And that's not to say that they don't have a good system or good players. Now, the system has to actually supersede the players because you got to have talent, as you've seen here throughout. And that's going to lead to my next thing. The missing ingredient is having that elite player. Right, I understand the Lionel Messis, the Mbappes, all these guys, they don't grow on trees here in the U.S. And the crazy thing is that soccer, especially among the, when I say the younger folks, I guess when you hear about, oh, my soccer team, the soccer moms and all that, it's not as if these kids aren't playing soccer. But for whatever the reason, we haven't had the one guy, and it's similar to the tennis player when you think about it. Because, especially on the men's side, women's, you have some good women's tennis players that are here from this country. But pretty much ever since Andy Roddick, who only won one Grand Slam for tennis, we haven't had that one guy that's been, oh, watch out. I mean, the Pete Sampras, the Andre Agassi's, those are long in our rearview mirror. And there's not an American tennis player. All right, and I understand today you have Taylor Fritz there, and he's in the quarterfinal. And I'll talk about Wimbledon in a little while. But you don't have that American soccer player. And look, remember, what was it? How many years ago? Freddie Adu? 16, everybody thought. Now, I understand he was born in Ghana, but he came here to the States and, of course, became a citizen. And everybody thought that this guy was going to just overtake soccer, that he was the guy, that finally the U.S. could at least, we have somebody that we could really hang our hats on, somebody that could really root for, and maybe, just maybe, take us deep into a World Cup or take us to the promised land. How did that turn out? So they don't have that player. Christian Pulisic, very good player. Chris Richards, very good player. And we could go on down the rest of the team. They could have a bunch of good players. But you got to have, if not one great player, you got to have two exceptional players. Good and very good are just that. Exceptional means that the coaches can't sleep at night knowing that, I got to key in on this guy or these two guys in order for us to win this match. It's Christian Pulisic. And listen, no shade. He's not in that ilk of those guys. And I understand. They don't grow on trees here, where they grow on trees there in the other countries in the world. And they eat, live, breathe soccer. Where here in this country, there's so many distractions, so many other things to get into that for whatever the reason, we haven't had that one guy or two guys that are like, look out. This is the quote-unquote Lionel Messi of the U.S. men's team, or the Mbappe, or the Ronaldo, or the Neymar, or whatever guy you want to call. You want to go Pele? You want to go Diego Maradona? You name it. We don't have those guys. And that's why, going back to this, we do not stack up with any of those teams. Because until we get guys like that, or until we finally have a guy that's coming through the ranks like, look out for this kid who went to this school or played here or whatever, and now is on the U.S. men's team, and he's 20 years old, and he's a dynamo, so he could play for the next 4 or 5 World Cups, then you got it. Maybe 4 or 5, he'll be 40, but you understand where I'm coming from. I mean, that's it. And this is why they can't hang. Now, one more time, they could have the right system and the right players. Maybe not the great player, but still, look what happened the other day against Belgium. They made mental errors where you cannot, as you get deep into this tournament, you cannot do. And listen, Belgium is a very good team. They're a team that we're going to get to see what's going to happen here in this next game against Spain. Do I think they'll hang? I'll talk more about that on tomorrow's podcast, because the games you're going to have over the next few days. France, Morocco tomorrow. Then you're going to have the 2 games on, I believe it's the 2 on Friday and 1 Saturday before we get to the semifinals next week. So I'll talk more about that. Save it for then. But yeah, and they could have the camaraderie. And we said the same thing about the U.S. Oh, they played on the 18 team. They played on the 22 team. Oh, they have the camaraderie. And that's great. But again, they don't have the players. And that's why they are out. Done. Sayonara. But I've been fascinated by this World Cup. I really have. It's been tremendous. I can only imagine what these next 4 games are going to be over the next 3 days. Hopefully they're close to what we've seen. We would think that's going to be the case. And yes, it has its moments and its pockets where it's boring. I know one of the comments earlier, it's like, oh, the Colombia-Switzerland game, no goals. But toward the end, as I gave you those few examples with the opportunities, and yeah, overall, you combine the teams, and I believe they had 11 shots on goal for the game. Yeah, that's not excitement. But when you got to the crux, when you got to the crucible of the game where you knew that any shot toward the net or any false move could literally be fatal for whichever team that would end up losing. Or in the case where the Colombian kid, he kicked it over and he had a not wide open net, but obviously had a golden opportunity and he sailed it. That one, I'm sure whether they flew home already or they're flying home right now, I'm sure they probably already flew home, but even if he's flying now, you mean to tell me he hasn't thought about that kick ever since it left his foot? I'm sure he's going to think about that until the next World Cup. So that's what I got. And here I am talking soccer for the last 40 minutes. No, maybe not 40. Maybe half hour. Let's see. What do we got here? Comments. I could have played better in a wheelchair than a goalie did. Oh, yeah. That one play, that free stick, I didn't understand it. And I he was coming out. I mean, that sealed the game in my eyes. I was so disappointed in USA Soccer. Yeah, I know. In the first goal, he stood around. That third goal, I mean, that's what killed him. US is out, don't care anymore. And I hear you, Cole. They were looking around like, well, yeah, that was the thing. I think the game, I don't know if it was rigged. Now, if it was similar to what the Argentina-Egypt game yesterday, where you could talk about those calls, whatever, then I would say that because, yeah, that coach came out and destroyed. He said, oh, if I could pull out a quote, and I don't know, could FIFA fine him? I guess they could. Why not? Excuse me. This is what he said. Hold on. Here we go. Then now there's the Egyptian Football Association. Cannot remain silent, quote, cannot remain silent regarding the refereeing decisions. She said officiating, but we get it. The winning goal, 2 minutes into stoppage time. And yeah, everybody was going crazy in front of the Egyptian bench. Egyptian Football Association cannot remain silent regarding the refereeing decisions witnessed during the match against Argentina, as well as the failure to make appropriate use of the video assisted review, the VAR. Several key incidents raised serious concerns, and left profound questions about the consistency and fairness of decisions that directly influenced the course of the game. Do they have a legitimate gripe about that? They do, but they blew a 2-0 lead with 11 minutes to go in the game, or really 11 when you got to the 90. I understand anything can happen, but still. How about saying we couldn't make a stop? Or how about saying, yeah, we didn't deliver? Yeah, I want to get the coach's comments. Here's what he said. Ready? The coach, Hossam Hassan, said his team was the victim of an injustice. Suggested that FIFA wanted Lionel Messi to stay in the running at the competition. And here's a quote. We look better than the reigning champions, better in everything, but the result was influenced by internal factors on the pitch and external factors off it. Perhaps they wanted to keep the world champion in the competition. Perhaps they wanted Messi to stay in the running. And then he promises he's not going to watch any more World Cup, not going to watch a single match, blah, blah, blah. If that was the NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever, and he came out with that, he would be fine through the wazoo. and justice. And, they want to keep Messi. I mean, come on. Now, listen, I get it because of the call on the disallowed goal and then the non-call where Argentina had a goal. All right, I understand that. But you shouldn't have put your team in that position. I mean, come on. So anyway, so that's that. Let's see where we're at there. But no, I understand how you feel that way, Fisher Games. But no, Belgium was just better. World Cup is great for soccer in the world. The novice, I didn't give you a shout out or greetings. Just wish another sport could do the same. You know what's funny? Now, listen, it's going to be nowhere near the World Cup, but just a little taste of what we saw there with the WBC, I guess, was similar to what we witnessed here with the World Cup. Now, I can't compare. I mean, the World Cup's been forever, where the WBC started, 20 years ago? And the WBC, listen, I got into it, as you know, for the first time in forever. And it still can't compete as good as it was it's the World Cup. But if you make any comparisons, or if you want to take a sliver of a comparison, is the feeling of the baseball, because obviously you're not going to get that in football. Hockey comes close because you have the Olympics, but it's not in a World Cup. It's not that type of scenario. Although they did have the once upon a time the Canada Cup. They don't even do that anymore. Maybe they do a World Cup like their own World Cup. And the four nations face off. They need to have Russia in there. It can't just be Sweden, Finland, Americans, and Canadians. You got to have the Russians in there, but obviously what's going on in the world, they're not included. All right, fine. But Braden, welcome. I think the real issue with the USA winning the World Cup is once they lost, you have 300 million Americans. All of a sudden, no, you're 1,000% correct. And give it up. The ratings were phenomenal. The rating on Monday night peaked at 36 million people, and I believe got 30 million to watch overall. For a round of 16, that is through the roof. Now, would that have been the same rating if it was played somewhere overseas? Obviously, you don't know, because I know in 2002 when they got to the Sweet 16, or you want to say Sweet 16, when they got to the round of 16, I don't recall what the rating was. And when was that? Was that in 2002? Where was the World Cup in 2002? Was it in France? Hosted by South Korea and Japan. All right, so obviously I was way off. I thought one year was in France. It probably was not that long ago. But right, if it was in South Korea, Japan, and I'm sure they probably want to time it to where the Americans can watch. But even still, I don't think the rating will come anywhere close to what we saw there a few nights ago. But Braden, you're right. Just like Cole said earlier, who's going to watch this thing? Now, I'll watch because, look at the players that you have left standing. With Haaland, Mbappe, obviously Messi. You have Spain. And I'm missing another team that's out there. Yeah, Belgium. Yeah, I don't know how Swiss is going to do. I don't know if they're going to do well. But you still got heavyweights there in this tournament. But Braden, you're right. So he had Argentina and Rose was playing perfect D, and Messi just, yeah. Listen, that coach could cry, grovel, do whatever it takes. The game is over. It's not as if, it was a nip and tuck game. Now it became that way. Think about that. You are literally 11 minutes away from going into the stoppage time. And if you just hang on for about 7 minutes, that's it. That would have been a major upset. As it was, Argentina was what, minus 270? That is a big time. And if anybody bet Egypt, I'm sure, oh my goodness. If anybody thought, I'm going to bet Egypt, what the hell? and you're watching that game, and you would have made a fortune because I don't even know what their odds were. They probably had to be plus off the top of my head. Plus 500, I guess. But, man. And let me see. I'm just curious. Hold on a second. Let me get to the schedule. Because I know they have, and I listen, guys, I'm not a gambling man, as you know, but I'm just curious. So, France is minus 180. That's more than solid. Not overwhelming. Spain 160 over Belgium. England minus 115. And Argentina minus 140. So, yeah, Norway and England is probably the one game. They're looking at those other games as not necessarily blowouts, but, and listen. I think if you're, as you know, I like to get into this, and then I'll move on to other stuff, I promise, guys. I think if you're FIFA, your Final Four, this is what you're hoping for. France, Spain, England, and Argentina. That is just, and I understand Norway, the Viking row, and Erling Haaland, who obviously is a top player in the world. And I think if Norway would have made it fine, but, England, they haven't won a World Cup since 1966. Count it, 60 years. France, trying to get back there, as we know. Spain, didn't they win in 18? I believe they won in 18. And then Argentina is the defending champ. I understand that no Cinderella's there, but yeah, you get France, Spain, England, and Argentina. They will. That Dom Perignon's going down smooth. They'll probably drink a whole case of it. Imagine get Morocco, Belgium, Norway, and Switzerland. Oh, my goodness. You talk about them spitting out that Dom Perignon. But no, there's no way. I don't know. And listen, I'll get to more like who would I think if there's a better shot for an upset. I'll talk about that more tomorrow. U.S. should have got all their players. No, I know Spirit doesn't exist anymore. No, I hear you on that, Donavis. Have a great day. Fishing Angel, yes, you too. Soccer, hockey, and tennis are very expensive here in the States compared to. Yeah, that's an excellent point there, Donavis. The tennis with, I'm sure, fees to country clubs and tennis coaches. Obviously, with football, you just try to get on a high school team or peewee. Basketball, all you got to do is go out to any court, wherever, play a pickup game. I understand that when you get into AAU, and that's when it gets a little crooked, but yeah, not like hockey, where the equipment. And I remember, going back to high school, I used to play ice hockey, and off the top of my head, I can't remember what the prices are, but I can't even, like shins, pants, gloves, stick. I never wore elbow pads or shoulder pads because, it wasn't that physical. You're playing pickup hockey. So, you're not trying to ram anybody through the boards. And a helmet, all that. Off the top of my head, it may have run me $500, and that's 1987. Here it is, almost 30 years later. 40 years later. And it's got to be 4 times that. And the skates also. Can't forget that. Hypnotics in gaming. What's happening? No football culture. What are you talking about? Here in America? I could see that. Yeah, it doesn't really. It's funny. The pockets of soccer fans, or even players for that matter, I'm sure they're in certain regions, but they're not as prevalent. It's not like, ooh, this is the one place where it's a soccer hotbed. I understand Pacific Northwest, where the Seattle team, everybody loves them, in Portland. But, yeah, it's such a niche sport with the MLS that you don't really have a breeding ground or grounds throughout the country where it's like, oh, yeah, like you already know. Football is South, East, and Texas. California, too. Baseball, Florida, California, Texas. Hockey, more northern Michigan, Minnesota, obviously going into Canada, Massachusetts, more north than here. Basketball, I understand it's everywhere. Back in the day, you get the point guard from New York City. You get, I know, PG County there in Maryland, which was also a hotbed too. Kevin Durant, Michael Beasley, etc. But yeah, 100%. Landon Donovan said the same. The U.S. soccer system is not geared to promote play. Oh, yeah. And that's why I brought up Freddie Adu. Everybody thought when he came in, 16, oh, look out. I mean, the guy, yeah. The only way we'll change if USA puts up the money like China's trying to do. Yeah, they're going to have to really invest. Mike, what's happening? Thanks for hopping on board. Put our best athletes out there and we would dominate. How many are playing soccer? That's the thing. Miss Priya, greetings. You think parents still get too obsessed with youth sports causing problems? I don't have my finger on the pulse for that, but I'm sure there are pockets out there where the parents are just thinking their son or daughter, for that matter, is the next Aaron Judge or the next Patrick Mahomes or the next Jamar Chase, Novak Djokovic, you name it. So, yeah, I can see that. 100%. Mark's back online, but choose not to run. Greetings, Mark. I guess he came in at the right time because either that or he listened to the soccer, know that I was winding down with the soccer talk, and then now pops up on board. But hey, listen, Mark, I appreciate you stopping by as always. All right, let's get to the next thing. Do I even get into this right now? All right, I want to get a sign of hands or a yes or no. Do you want me to talk about this? I'm sure you're sick of this whole Jaylen Brown thing, and I understand me being a Celtic fan, and I've beaten this to death. But I'll hold off. Do you want me to get into baseball or Wimbledon? Because those are the next two things I'm going to talk about. I can address this if you wish. If not, that's perfectly fine. I get it. So if I don't see any comments, then that means I'm sure you guys don't want me to talk about it. I see one comment there. Let's see. Oh! Miss Bria, like, yes, the Sixers will make conference title now. Miss Bria, you're a Sixer fan? I think you did say that a while ago. And Miss Bria has a channel here too on YouTube. Definitely check her out. I've seen some of your content where I know you interview people. I actually like some of that stuff, which is good. So keep up the good work with that. All right, Miss Priya, just for you, I'll talk about this. And for those who are just jumping in, I see bouncing around 17, 13 people. Welcome aboard as we're talking about sports here. Sort of Hornets, but Melo bailed. Oh, that's right. Well, I know you're from the Carolinas, but I thought maybe you lean more towards Philly. Yeah, I hated that trade. And then Miles Bridges, too. Mark's likes Mayweather talk. Been saying it. Mark was correct. Yeah, I know. He's a clown with all the stuff that's happened with him. But I'll go back to what Priya said. All right, so real quick on this. I didn't watch the entire – I watched maybe out of the 43 minutes, I watched 36 minutes. After a while, I couldn't watch anymore. So – and I know somebody got on me in the comments because I came out, I posted something yesterday about why is it that the Celtics are posting stuff about Jaylen Brown 5 days after the trade? And yes, okay, the trade was official on the 6th. So therefore, they had to wait till it was official in order for them to post stuff about Jaylen Brown, thanking him for all of his services, so on and so forth. My thinking is that this trade's going to go through. I get it. They had to wait till that day and they have to go through physicals and all that. But, I mean, come on. Who are we kidding? And I feel like they need to change that. Because if a trade is consummated between two clubs, and yes, I understand something go haywire with the physical or, oh, they found something that now we got to nix the trade. I get that. But yeah, when I saw that and they had 2 posts and 20 photos, And I said to myself, listen, I can understand that they're going to, out of respect, show love to Jaylen Brown for all he did, won a title, the finals MVP, etc. But to me, it's just, no. Why? They just said thank you the day after. And all right, I get it. They're going to have egg on their face if whatever happened with the trade, that if it didn't go through. But how many times have you seen a trade of that ilk all of a sudden? And we have seen trades that because of physicals, because I get that. But 99.9% of the time, usually that trade goes through and that's it. So, yeah, I had a problem with that. But anyway, so Brad Stevens pretty much said that in order for us to not have to deal with the fallout of extending Jaylen Brown, knowing that we can't have 70% of our cap tied into two players in order for us to sustain excellence in the long term, which I knew that was the case. Nobody brought up, and this is why I watched the press conference, two things. They didn't bring up, one, how Jaylen Brown, and despite, I get it, the 70%, but how having those two guys in the mix does put a hit on your cap, but can you work things around? I don't know if you could do deferred contracts. I'm throwing that out there, but we know that you have to have at least two guys, not one, two, in order to win a championship. So whether it was Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and I get it, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Miles Bridges, or Mikal Bridges, and the players that came off the bench. Last year, SGA, Jalen Williams, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Giannis, and although he's not a that oak, but it was good at it for his time, Chris Middleton. Not a great player, but he was a good scorer. Who won in 22? Oh, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You got to have two guys. So to finish that point, the first question was, could you have still worked it out despite it being 70%? Where I get it, the other 30% you're giving out, you have your mid-level exception, and then you have to give out pretty much 2-year, $10 or $14 million contracts. But could you have made it work? Because they're already paying Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown $60 million, and I get it, the 2-year extension, $141 million, which is going to be $70 million per year for Brown after he finishes his contract. That was number one. And number two, they didn't bring up as I've said here before, there have been reports about 8 to 10 teams that were contacted. And I understand they're not going to talk about the teams or the players. I get that. But he did say that Philly was the best offer, and it was tough. I know. The fan in me, we mulled it over, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, it's just the same rigmarole. It's just like, all right, you got to toe the company line. They're going to say they're going to compete. They're going to spend money. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And they also had the owner, private equity now, Bill Chisholm there. And let me tell you something. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a good guy. And I'm sure we're going to find out whether or not. And they still have the middle level exception. They still have some flexibility. But him speaking, no, he is not good. And not to say you have to be Barack Obama, where you have to have this presence and this voice and this fluidity when it comes to expressing the parameters of the salary cap or the moves that the organization is going to make moving forward. Yeah, this is not his wheelhouse. And I don't want to say I came away unimpressed, but I certainly wasn't impressed. Right somewhere in the middle, which I know that could be weak for me to say, but Bill Chisholm didn't really distinguish himself in my eyes. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, I could see why No, not that he was bumbling and stumbling, but he certainly didn't come out and say, well, yeah, this is the reason why we're doing this, and blah, blah, blah. And he's a Boston guy. You would have thought he would have said, yes, Jaylen Brown, I've just known this young man for the last couple of years, or ever since I got the team. Yes, this was a very difficult decision. A lot had to be invested in making this trade. I didn't want to trade him to the Sixers. Trust me, but whatever it may be, but we had to do it. None of that. And yeah, it just made me feel like, oh, am I going to really trust this guy when, for everything that they've said, even Brad Stevens, what he said. And it does give them more flexibility, that we know, because after these 2 years with Paul George's contract, then you're clear. Where with Brown, I believe he still had 2 more years, or maybe 3. No, I think he had 2 more. And let's say if you tack on that extension, now you got 4 years with him. And I get it. And I've said to you all along, I understand why they traded him. It's what they got back that I did not like. So those are my thoughts there. How about CM Punk coming back on Raw in Chicago? Yeah, wait. Yeah, I know. There wasn't there a recent, because I know Roman Reigns won WrestleMania, but didn't he just lose recently? I'm not following it. Yeah, there was a recent Wrestle something or other. Not SummerSlam. SummerSlam, isn't that coming soon? Listen, I know you're more on top of that than I am, and Donavis, I'm sure you're probably right about that. So if you could clue me in. Did you see Jake Paul troll Mayweather jet at airport? No, I did not. Should I look into this? Let's see. Let's have some laughs at Mayweather's expense. Let's go back. I don't want that. Hey, listen, Jake Paul's do I say anything bad about him? I'm not a fan of Jake Paul. Let's just put it that way. Listen, I can't knock his hustle, but come on. Trolling. And why is he trolling Mayweather? Seriously? Escalating as soon as first. No, it's from 4 years ago. Hold on. 9 months ago. Wait, was this just... Oh, is this it right here? This has to be it. Jake Paul trolling. Wait, Jake Paul gets a jet and clowns Mayweather. Haha, I thought you had a big jet. Oh, it's stupid. So Jake Paul, what he's... If you haven't seen this, should I show this? All right, if you haven't seen this, hold on a second. What is this? So Jake Paul happened to be, I guess, at the same airport where Floyd Mayweather was. So what happened was Jake Paul goes, is like, oh, you see Mayweather's jet? We don't want to see this anymore. Hold on. Did you see Mayweather's jet? He has 6 windows, and my jet has 14. Does anybody care? All you can hope for is that he's not in the debt that Mayweather is. Because obviously and I don't know, I don't care. I don't even know how much Jake Paul is worth. Obviously, he's worth tens of millions of dollars. I don't even know if he's in the hundreds of millions at this point. But yeah, the upkeep for a private jet is no joke. So you better keep getting those checks from Netflix, doing these. I mean, please, that Ronda Rousey disaster. And I know, hey, he was laughing all the way to the bank. Well, 14 wins, who cares? So what? And that's what happens. Youth is wasted on the young. And I know, what is he? I don't even know how old he is. He's late 20s. But come on. You're going to troll Mayweather. Oh, he got 6 windows minus 14. So what? Seriously? I mean, come on. Poor Sami Zayn. Yeah, I didn't even know. Wait, Sami Zayn, because again, I don't follow wrestling, but I know that from what I saw there the other day, that CM Punk, as the novice just said, wait, did he beat Sami Zayn? I guess. I don't know. I'm not on top of it. I know Bio's a big wrestling fan too, but yeah, I'm listen, obviously I'm not clued in, so I'm the worst person to speak on that. Floyd never paid Logan Paul his money from the fight, mind you. Yeah, well, obviously that's a Floyd problem. And if that's Jake Paul's way of getting back at him, you have a little bit more class than that. But again, he's Jake Paul. He's going to do that. You know, I can understand if you're going to troll somebody, but you're going to do it for, how can I say? See, like if I'm going to troll Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to troll him because there's going to be some substance behind it. But what he just did there is like, seriously? So what? I don't care if his jet had 50 windows. I mean, really? That's, to me, I hate to say it like this, but I'm going to just call it out like, hey, listen, if there are any kids on here, cover your ears. I mean, the ego dick measuring contest, I mean, that's, come on. Like, seriously? But it just goes to show you what Jake Paul is, which I get, it's no surprise. I understand that, but I'm not going to look at that as like, oh, wow, hey, Mark, I mean, if you're into that, God bless you, but I think, if anything, Jake Paul looks foolish for doing that. Trade's going to go through, same thing when Raiders said to Max Crosby. Oh, yeah. Yeah, remember how that unfolded. Bio at least had the title for 9 days. Yeah. The cash, yeah. Floyd may bounce back. That it was Bronner. Could be Tank. Oh, you mean Adrian Broner? Yeah, he's another clown also. He's always been a clown. Here he is I think he was on a flight somewhere. God, come on. What are we doing? I understand their persona. That's how they are. Whatever. Stop. I don't understand. Listen, if you're in your 20s and you're going to do something like that or whatever, you're in your 20s. You're going to do stupid things. And here I am sounding like the morality police. But if somehow, some way, and I can promise you this, and this is on record, so that's why I love it. And again, this is going to come back to bite Jay Reels. No, it won't. Because I could hit the jackpot. I'm not talking about lotto, but let's say I hit the jackpot doing this to the point where, oh, wow, things are really starting to pick up, so on and so forth. Oh, I'm going to buy a house, whatever. I have a car that I bought back in 2014, brand new. It's a Hyundai, simple. You think that if I come into a windfall of money doing what it is that I love, that I'm just going to go out there, oh, yeah, now I'm going to buy G-Wagon, whatever. Or I'm not even into cars like that. But you hear these G-Wagons. I guess that's not a Mercedes or a Range Rover or, oh, I'm getting a Maserati with all the bells and whistles. No way. Let people laugh at me as I'm driving my Hyundai. Look at this guy. He's worth whatever. If I could be ever so fortunate. Jay Reel's worth millions of dollars and he's driving this 2014 Hyundai. I'm like, that's right. I'm going to drive that sucker till the wheels fall off. And when they do fall off, I'll buy a new car, brand new. Yeah, maybe I'll elevate it a little bit. But yeah, I'm not going out there. Oh, I got to get tinted windows and bells and whistles and get the hell out of it. No way. No. Not doing it. And when I just see Adrian Broner and these guys out here, come on, well, seriously, that's supposed to impress me? I don't know. What other team has true Supermax contract players? I don't think there is a team. Oh, the novice. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I don't know when their contracts begin because they are extensions. I'm going to look that up. OKC last year signed SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. All those guys are making north. I know SGA's making, I think, 4 for $280. Here we go. Let's start there. Shai Gilgeous. contract. Yeah, when does this contract extension begin? All right. SGA signed a record-setting 4-year, $285 million Supermax contract extension with OKC. All right, the extension will not kick in until the 27-28 season. So that's not this coming year, it's the following year. Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension with the Oklahoma City Thunder worth up to $287 million. Announced July 25, kicked in following the Thunder's championship victory. So he's already getting, and do the math, 5 years, 287, that's what? And of course, it's going to be incremental. So whatever, that first year could be 60 million, and by the time at the end, it's going to be 70-something million dollars. So that's number 2. Oh, here we go. Yeah, go to Spot Track. That's the best one. Yeah, so his upcoming cap hit is $41 million. Yeah, so his extension, which started last year, $41 million this year, 44 next, 47, 51, 54. And it ends the same year of SGA. And SGA is going to make it average $71 million a year. So 71 and 54, that's 2 guys. Now let's get to Chet Holmgren. Let's see where his starts. And you also got to think about Philly. Well, Philly's next. Chet Holmgren signed a 5-year rookie max contract. Begins with the 2026-27 season, so this coming season. Does not include any player team options. Fully guaranteed, could reach up to $250 million. But on Spot Track, and ends at 2031, 41, 44, 47, 51, 54. And Philly's going to have the same problem. Because think about this. Embiid is making, starting this year, the next 3 years, $192 million. Tyrese Maxey signed that big deal. I think it was 5 for $212. And then Jaylen Brown's going to get that 2-year extension, which is going to be $70 million. So you're going to have those 3 guys. Bron living with parents behind the scenes of recent YouTube videos with, is that right? Over for problem child could be. I mean, listen. Yeah, I've never been a fan of Broner. But he's living with his parents? All right. What do you think Floyd would box tank? You're talking about Gervonta Davis? Nah, listen, I don't know. Is Gervonta Davis already been canceled at this point? Who knows? Yeah, I'll get to... Yeah, I see a lot of... Yeah, Zip, Bio, hang on. And Miss Priya, hang on there. I hope you're still there with me. Also got... How do you pronounce that? Aksashik? Is that how you pronounce that? All right, I'm going to get to those comments. Hang on tight. If Floyd boxed Tank, Tank would destroy him, I think. You better bring that defense. Why? I know Bron probably real next opponent. Oh, Broner. Yeah, if Broner fights Tank, oh, jeez. You're talking about destroyed. What are your picks for LeBron's new destination? I know. Who knows Philly? I mean, I don't know why you go there. It's as I've said before, and I won't get it. Cleveland, I don't think that's a good fit for him, despite Akron. I mean, listen, we know LeBron's whole history about Akron and Cleveland. And Donovan Mitchell signed an extension, as you know. Miami, I can't see that either. I would not be surprised, Philly, now that Jaylen Brown's there. And even though they play the same position. But LeBron is a guy that listen, he could play two. You could put Jaylen Brown at the 2 guard as well. I think Philly would be a great fit for him. I know I said San Antonio, though that's not going to happen. But I listen, if I'm him, I'm picking Philly. I'm not picking Cleveland. I'm not picking Miami. I'd pick Philly. Because what Embiid's not going to be healthy. I'm sorry, but he's not going to be healthy enough to go 4 rounds. The Lakers were 2 max players with AD and LeBron. Yeah, they were. And look, they got Luka and Reeves. Although Reeves, 4 for 185, still a lot, but yeah, not anything like OKC or what Philly's going to have to endure. You find an MLB All-Star game interesting at all? Not as much as I used to, Miss Priya. As a kid, I loved the All-Star. I couldn't wait for the All-Star game. But it's been ruined. I'll go as far as saying that. A, because of interleague. And the games are a bore. Listen, those games are yesteryear in the 80s. Listen, I know Bio could attest, and those games are great. I think about the 81 All-Star. If I go all the way back, the first All-Star game that I recall, ironically, was the 76 All-Star game in Philadelphia, which is going to be in Philadelphia this year. And they put it in Philadelphia for the Bicentennial, and they're here for 250. I remember that one. And then they also played there in 96. So look at that. Symmetry or synergy. 76, 96, and 2026. 96, I believe Piazza won the MVP. And then 77 was in Yankee Stadium, where the National League got to a 4-0 lead in the first inning and hit a bunch of home runs. I think Greg Luzinski, who didn't know? Maybe Joe Morgan. And again, I know Bio brought this up last week with the summer of 77. That night, if I pull up what the temperature was, and I happened to be that night in Boston, coming back from a trip to Niagara Falls. So I was not in the Bronx at that time. But I remember the temperature, 1977 All-Star game. The temperature at game time had to be almost 100 degrees. Let's see if they have that here. July 19th, 1977. 2 hours, 34 minutes. Yeah, 4 runs in the first inning. Yeah, I'm going to go through that. Do they have the temperature? Maybe at the bottom. Here we go. Other info. It says field condition dry, start time weather, night, no precip. I want a temperature. Maybe I could look that up. Yeah, Jim Palmer, 2 innings. He gave up 5 runs, but he gave up all those home runs in the first inning. Let's see. National League real quick. I know I'm probably boring you with this. Joe Morgan, yep. First inning off Jim Palmer, and Greg Luzinski, first inning. Oh, and Steve Garvey. Yep. Tagged him for 3 home runs in the first inning. Yeah, the All-Star game was great back then. 77, 78 was in San Diego. No, maybe in Dodger Stadium, and 80 was San Diego. 79 was Seattle, and that was a great one. Dave Parker won the MVP. I thought it should have been Lee Mazzilli on the Mets. They were down 6-5 in the 9th inning. He came in as a pinch hitter off of Jim Kern, tall reliever on the Texas Rangers, and he hit an opposite field down the left field line home run. And then in the 10th inning, he came up again and had a bases-loaded walk to drive in a winning run. I understand not sexy. I understand Dave Parker had a big game, threw out Brian Downing at home plate, and Parker, we know, had one of the great outfield arms of all time. That was a great game. No, the All-Star game back then was fantastic. Today, can't say it is. Oh, does he? Probably owes his dad money, too. All right, Aksa Sheik. Don't get upset, but that is 100% fair match. Mo Salah's not a foul. I hear that. And listen, I'm not upset. I didn't think that should have been, they should have called that. And I understand it's unfair because they disallowed the goal earlier in the match with Egypt, and here they allowed this goal for Argentina. I understand, but I'm with you. Not upset, but yeah, it is legit. The controversy, but it was fair. Brotherly love between Floyd and his brother. Floyd owes Jake doesn't. All right. Never paid his brother. 80 wasn't a Supermax because he wasn't with a single team for 8 seasons. No, but he did get that extension. You're right about that, the novice, but he did get that extension with the Lakers. Didn't he get like 3 years and 100 and something? When did that start, though? Let's see, Anthony. All right. Are you ready for this? AD's eligible to sign a lucrative contract extension worth up to 4 years and $275 million. If I'm the Washington Wizards, oh geez, I'd really have to think long enough. I can't do it. Davis is currently his guaranteed contract for the upcoming season, earning a base salary of $58.5 with the $62.8 million player option currently set for the following year. Yeah, I think he signed that. Wasn't that 3 years, like 160 some odd million with the Lakers? I understand it wasn't a supermax, but it was. I mean, listen, it's still big time money. Here it is. Yeah, he signed a 3-year. Hold on. Yeah, so he's got 2 more years left on his deal. Yeah, player option that final year. Yeah, 3 years, $175 million. Yeah, 54, 58, and 62. Yeah, if you do that, that's 175. Yeah, I understand not Supermax, but I mean, listen, that's big time money. Floyd bought an $18 million. Oh my God, would I? Listen, I could be. It doesn't matter. And I mean this wholeheartedly. I don't have it on me. I wear a running watch. It's a Polo watch. Probably worth $200. That's the watch I'm rocking. I wouldn't even buy an $1,800 watch, let alone $18 million. How about that? Think it was at Walmart? Why would anybody buy an $18 million watch? Why? I mean, no. Floyd, a stupid person. Stop it. Oh, he makes stupid purchases. I'm not going to say he's stupid. I would never say that, but I mean, you can certainly question what he invests his money in. I think it was Walmart. All right. Floyd got his dad's brain. I was crying. Well, listen, he's made a name of himself. And yeah, we know he's fallen out of favor with his dad. And he active. Home Run Derby, other gimmick games. Yeah, Miss Priya. As far as the Home Run Derby, that's going to be on Netflix, which will be this coming Monday. That is going to be, I know right now, that's going to be hard to watch. Because Netflix, they're going to make it bigger than the Derby. They're probably going to have, I know they had Jameis Winston there when Netflix had the opener, Yankees-Giants. And, okay, why is Jameis, no offense to Jameis Winston. And I understand he played baseball at Florida State, but why is he there? So you're going to have all these people who don't really know baseball, and they're going to talk about the Derby or these players that are in there. Fake fight against Tyson, would you pay money to watch? No, I would not pay money to watch. Tyson versus Roy's bad enough. Yeah, no, I would not. Neither. They didn't get initial buys. Floyd needs to come back and fight. Yeah, he does. But who's he going to fight? That's the big question. Probably does. Fighting is for free. Yeah. Zip, I'm with you. There is no way I cannot. He's stupid. Stop protecting him. I'm not protecting him. I'm not going to call him stupid. Like I said, has he made stupid decisions? I understand he's got outside the ring stuff that he's had to deal with in the past. Listen, is he one of nature's noblemen? He is not. And just because you earn a lot of money doesn't mean that you're a smart person. Because there's a lot of people that has made a ton of money and they've blown it. Funny enough, the aforementioned Mike Tyson. But I'm not here. Listen, can I critique him on his what's happened recently? Oh, I'm going to fight Tyson. Oh, now I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao. And then this last fight, the guy I talked about this was maybe a week or so ago. I didn't even know who this guy was. Floyd. Yeah, what was this guy's name? Yeah, Mike Zambitis was scheduled to face a legendary Greek kickboxer in Athens, but it was postponed due to a breach of contract lawsuit. Listen, I wouldn't know Mike Zambitis if he came in here and he started kicking or swinging at my head. This is what it's come down to. And that's why I came out and said, might as well fight me. I understand it's going to be not a draw, but you pay me $100,000, I get in the ring. Let's go. Yeah, hey, I like that. David Swords watch day one. Pete Alonso chance. No, in fact, Waffle Iron, did you hear last night? They had Brandon Nimmo chance. Why? This is where the fan base right now is, I know, delirious because of what has transpired throughout the course of this year. But why are they chanting Brandon Nimmo's name? You want to chant Alonso's name? All right, I understand. And, oh, hey, a Jorge Polanco sighting, I might add, as he's in the lineup. But, yeah, it was Brandon Nimmo chance. And to me, why? I have no clue. Listen, Benj, AJ Ewing, those guys are going to be our outfielders of the future. And hopefully they can progress to very good, if not borderline all-stars, where they both hit anywhere between 15 to 20 home runs, knock in 85, 90, steal a ton of bases, play good defense. I mean, listen, you take it. And to go there with Soto on left, there's your outfield. I understand it's not built with a ton of muscle and a ton of home run power, but maybe these guys could develop that. I mean, what? AJ Ewing is 21 and Carson Bench 23. I mean, these guys are babies. So we shall see. Floyd hates real fights these days. Heard Manny now. Is that right? I didn't know that. Huh. Manny's new training camp location. Where's that? Grand Rapids? Where he's from? Probably not. All right. Should I get into a couple other things? Let's see. What do you guys want me to talk about? You want me to do some Wimbledon? You want me to do some baseball? Yankees still can't hit. Can't score 5 runs in a game. They haven't scored 5 runs in a game. I know yesterday, I think they had 10 hits, but lost 6-4. Let's see. What is happening? Time has come, Verlander to retire after season. Shocker. Hey, listen. He lasted quite a while, and he won a Cy Young, what? Was it 4 years ago? I think it was 18-4 with a 1.75 ERA the year they won the World Series. Yeah, he's 43. I mean, yeah, the time has come. Verlander has a career record of 266, 159 with a 3.3 ERA and 3,500 strikeouts. I mean, the guy's a Hall of Famer. Anytime you're 100 games over 500, and last year he was awful. I get you can't take it away. Oh, is that right? What's his name beat Flavio Cavalli? Arthur Ferry. Wow. Wow, that's a stunner. I'll get to that in a minute. But for Verlander, right-hander was named to the All-Star game on Wednesday as a legend pick. All right. But 266 and 159. Let's see. Oh, no for Mark Simmons. What do I think of all the trade Lindor stuff? No, I appreciate that, Zip. Go on. If we're going to trade away every player. Yeah, and a lot of stuff has come out recently. I'm sure you heard, Zip, but for those who haven't, where Mike Francesa, who is one of the pioneers of sports talk radio, where he announced on his podcast that from someone he knows close that feels he's got a finger on the pulse, where he said that the reason why Lindor and Soto did not get along or haven't really gotten along was because when Soto signed his deal, a lot of the players at least sent texts to congratulate, and Lindor was one guy who did not. And even though a couple of weeks ago when Lindor came back into the lineup and Soto, I think, was out, they were there on the side of the dugout chopping it up with the game being played in the background. Listen, not that I would know. They hate one another. Who knows? But the Lindor trade stuff is fascinating because they're going to have to take a bad contract back. This isn't a situation where they're going to unload this contract, not eat a good portion of it, and just expect minor league prospects. Couldn't think of the word. So, or maybe a major league ready player and prospects. And again, I couldn't tell you. And they're going to have to match up the money. That's why you hear a lot about maybe Fernando Tatis coming this way. And Tatis, although younger, but has more years, a lot more years on his contract than Lindor does. So, yeah, it's very tricky as to how they're going to operate on trying to find the right suitor to bring another person or another player in, and then Lindor gets sent packing and not have to deal with. And in that case, if they do bring a big contract back, they don't have to eat any of that contract. I don't know if the Padres would eat some of Tatis's contract if that were to be the trade at some point. But I would think the Mets are going to try to find that right deal. Maybe it is prospects, and if it is prospects, they're going to have to eat a ton of money. But I would think that they're going to take back a major league player that is making a lot of money. I mean, Rafael Devers, anyone, and not that I want him, but yeah, you gotta have to have the balance of this trade to where, yeah, it's player for player, so contract for contract, or if it's a scenario where, yeah, you guys have to eat most of the money, or all right, we'll send you a major league ready player that's getting paid $10 million, and then, yeah, here are these prospects, but you got to pay whatever. He's making $34 million a year. Give me 10 of that. How many months I've been saying? Probably 5. I don't know. I haven't kept score on that, so yes, that he did. Everything he says is true. All right. Well, hang on. Why do Linder? That's true too. And they're on opposite ends of the locker room. Yeah, to me, I also think it's overrated. You like to have the chemistry with all the players, but I mean, if Lindor's sour because of the money that Soto's making, and you know what? Please, nobody's going to cry you a river because you make out of the totality of your contract $341 million, where Soto is $765. And listen, I don't think anybody's thinking that Lindor's crying to the bank because he's not making $760 million. He's perfectly okay. But yeah, we could go through a litany of players who didn't like each other, but were there for the one common goal, and that's to win the World Series. including personal views with your channel subs. Not and then the other comment, no. Let's see. What is this? Hold on. Oh, where'd it go? No, where's the other comment? All right, so my skills aren't working out here when it comes to this, but all right. Let's get to a couple other things. I want to talk about this real quick because tomorrow you're going to have, Friday, Sinner Djokovic. Now, I don't know if you heard, watched, or somehow were in tune to the match yesterday with, now Sinner won in straight sets, so that's, please. And he's been dominant ever since the first round where he went to a fifth set. But for Novak Djokovic, who is 39 now, let me double check that. Yeah, he's 39. For him to go 5 sets and play 5 hours and 15 minutes, and in 3 of those sets was a tiebreak. I mean, you can't even quantify the amount of guts, grit, determination, and he went up against a player who is excellent in his own right, and again with these names, Felix Auger-Aliassime. But here was the breakdown. Djokovic first set, 7-6, 12-10. Then Aliassime won 6-3, Djokovic 6-3. Then Aliassime 7-6, 7-4, and then Djokovic 7-6, 10-4. Again, 5 hours, 15 minutes. I'm sure pure exhaustion. And thankfully for him that he gets the extra day, because at 39 years of age, and I understand that he beat Jannik Sinner at the Australian Open, but unless it's going to be 100 degrees, and I don't think it's going to be that hot, of course. But I know the temperature this week in London was supposed to increase. Let me just see. Where is that? Oh, club. Hello. I'm trying to find the weather. Of course. Here we go. Oh my goodness. It's 88. Friday. 87. How humid is it going to be? That's the key. 91 today, 91 on Thursday, and then 87. I don't know. I'm sure Djokovic will be ready, and I know Sinner will too, but that's going to be a fascinating semifinal. And then to find out, Taylor Fritz, I know everybody in the UK right now, they are ecstatic because one of their own is advancing, Arthur Ferry, who beat Taylor Fritz, the last American standing, in straight sets. And who knows? This guy right now is the Cinderella of the tournament, to where if he does beat in the next match Alexander Zverev, and I think Zverev won already. Let me just double check. Zverev, yes, he did. So you're going to have Zverev and Ferry go at it there on Friday, and then Sinner, Djokovic being the first match. Oh, that'll probably be the second match, I would think. They probably want him to have. They probably would want that have. One more time, people. They probably want to have Sinner Djokovic for the nightcap, but they may put that first only because they have that extra day. And I'm sure Zverev won in straight sets, did he not? Absolutely. 6-4, 6-4, 6-2, Taylor Fritz. And then Flavio Cabali straight sets, 6-4, 7-6, but then 6-love. Yeah, I think this Wimbledon final is going to be one to watch. Maybe not so much on the women's side. I know this looks like it's going to be Coco Gauff's tournament to lose. She's going to go up against Karolina Markova. And then you have Linda Noskova, who won and beat Elisa Mertens this morning, with Marta Kostyuk there on tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. Morning their time, 8:30 and 10. So, yeah, could Gauff rise to the occasion and win a Wimbledon? She's only won a French and a U.S. Open. So this tournament would be enormous for her to get to and win, considering she has not won Wimbledon. Let me just see where she's at all time. Yeah, all time. Yeah. Win at the French. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Wasn't that a win in 2021? Yeah, I thought you won the U.S. Open 2021. Who won that year? Was that the Emma Raducanu year? Yeah, I got to look that up. I thought she won. Did she not? Hold on. Oh, this women's doubles. I don't want that. Well, anyway, so we got that on the docket over the weekend. So, I'll keep my eyes on that. Mark Simmons, G. And Jay, leave New York overtaxing on everything. I know. Yeah, my day's going to come. I listen. I'm not one of those that once I leave New York, now who knows? Oh, homesick. I want to come back. Listen, it's time. Now, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I would like to leave New York, but, here I am just trying to continue to little engine I could to carve this path to get to a point where I could start generating revenue. But no, I hear you, Mark. I would listen. And the wife would love to also. Now, I understand leaving New York is either going west, south, etc. For starters, I'd like to get out of the 5 boroughs. But, yeah, where I would go to, if in a perfect world for me, now I understand the wife has to, she's the one that has to also approve. Take me to the tropics. Let me go down there. Let me have a banana tree, avocado tree, coconut trees, passion fruit, soursop, mango. Oh, you give me that, I'll be set. And then I'll have a little plot of land, house, backyard. I get to have a shed, but right next to it, I have my studio. I do all my shows in there. Have it set up to where, hey, if somebody happens to come down and wants to be interviewed, we'll sit there face to face, cameras, everything. I mean, that's it. That's all I want. I understand I could do that here in the States too. No problem. Wherever that may be. But that's it. That's all I want. As simple as it gets. I don't need a McMansion. To me, if I want any type of luxury in my home, and I'll share this with you guys and gals, the only luxury that I want is a sauna, a steam room, or my steam shower. Program it. Would I like to have a pool in the backyard? Yeah, it doesn't have to be Olympic size, but the pool would be nice. But if not, that's fine. A cold plunge, without question. And even if I don't have that separate studio, let me have a place to where if it's in a basement or if it's in a separate room, meaning downstairs where I can have it soundproofed and the wife is upstairs or on the other side of the home and it's 3-bedroom. That's it. That's all I want. Not asking for much. Uh-oh, let me see this. Wait. Move to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky? Pennsylvania. Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. I don't know. I'd want to move somewhere where it's warm. Florida's just overpopulated. I know Florida, everybody can live in the sticks. I don't know if I want to live in the sticks in Florida. I want to live where a little bit more of a metropolis, which would only really be Miami. I don't know about Orlando. I don't know about Tampa. I visited. Miami's just way too crowded and too crazy to think in Miami. And there are places in New York where you can park on the street for free. Anywhere in Miami, you have to pay a meter or valet, either one. Doesn't matter. It could be the side street of all side streets where, I don't have to pay. You got to pay. It's crazy. True Albany good. I don't know if I'd move that far up. I like to say Westchester County, but I mean, that's still technically, it's outside the 5 boroughs, but your channel will blow. Listen, I'm hoping. It's a lot of work, and I don't mind it. You know me. I do these. There hasn't been a day, time, nothing where it's like, I got to set up the equipment. What am I going to talk about? I got to do this again. There hasn't been one iota of that, and that's why that is what I love to do. But, yeah. And I appreciate that, Mark. Listen, I got to keep keeping on. Jay, I'm leaving New York City for Utah. Are you? Are you serious about that? And if so, when? I need to know this. Waffle Iron, what about a sensory deprivation tank? It depends on how much that sucker costs. I would do that. That I would be into. In the dark, and you just... That's something I would do. But no, I'd like to have the other stuff. Because I love to run. I'd also have a gym. I have to have a gym because then I can lift weights. I need to start lifting weights too. I haven't done that. I've been doing some calisthenics, but then if I can just have those things that I mentioned. Oh, you know what I also want to? And I understand I can only use this in the summertime, especially if, let's say, if I had a house in Westchester or somewhere north of here or Jersey, whatever. I want an outdoor shower. If you've never experienced an outdoor shower, you absolutely, positively have to do that. Oh, my God. It's the best. Everyone sees me working. Listen, I appreciate that. I hope you recognize that. Mark, what are you referring to? Which one? The sensory deprivation tank? No, what's wrong with that? Listen, I'm into all that type of thing. Yeah, listen. Everybody sees me working. No, I appreciate that, Mark, but yeah, I just want simple. Nothing has to be, I got to live in a 5,000 square foot home or anything bigger than that, or I got to drive this car, or I got to wear these clothes, or nope. I'll get in where I fit in. I'd just like to have a backyard, of course, for the pup who's laying right here. And for the wife to not work again, which that'd be good for her because I know she's working and she's, Know the others concerning Waffle? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, no. I see. I'm reading your post all backwards. Yeah, I'm not going to do that, Mark. I'm not going to post what you just wrote there. I'm not going to do that. Just like if others were to say stuff about you, I'm not going to do that too. This? What is that? I don't even know what that is. But yeah, that's it. That's all I would want. And I say the tropics because I like to grow my own food. I'd rather have that and have to deal with the nonsense of what's going on here. I see you, Waffle Iron. I see what you just posted. But in fairness to Mark and what he's wrote, I'm not going to post that up there, but everybody can see that. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want. Yeah, and not to say I want to have a simple life because, yeah, I like adventure. I like to do different things, the running aspect, challenging myself. Because I feel like life is meant to be lived. You don't want to just exist. You just want to, no. I understand not every day can be like that. In fact, actually, I'll post something on my Instagram for those who are interested in that particular realm. But yeah, not asking for much. I'm not asking for the sun, moon, stars. Oh, I want to get this. I want to know. None of that. I just want to earn a living doing what I am doing now to be financially not even just stable, even flexible for that matter. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Being dissed by Busters. Busters like waffle. I don't know what that is, Mark, but okay. Come on, Mark. Can we be nice here, please? Please, please, please. Mark only speaks facts. Although I got you the other day, I know you saw that link, right, Mark? Can I just post this? I'll post this right here. Mark's only speaks facts. So I know he responded to one of my comments there in one of the posts, and he brought up Hal Morris again. And I sent him the link exactly to where Hal Morris was introduced as the first base in the 1990 World Series. But of course, you didn't say anything about that. And even though he says he speaks facts, but all right, I'm not going to unpack that. I promise I'm not going to go there with that. I just had to bring that up. So let's see. What else we got, people? Anything else to chew on sports-wise? Or anything else that's on your mind? How was everybody's fourth? I know I didn't talk about that on Monday. Anybody into the World Series of Poker? I have a former coworker who's into that. Scott Seaman shot him out. And he was actually been on my podcast going back to the early stages, the first year. Big Met fan. He and Jerome DeSantis, shout out to you. Yeah, didn't make it out, but over 9,000 players in World Series of Poker chasing 10 million top prize. Yankees make history, strike out 17 times again. Grizzly land Quentin Post after Dubs don't match. Colin McGregor. Yeah, I'm on the ESPN page right now. Yeah, I'll go to like the Yahoo and bounce around. Yeah, blame Pochettino if you want, but these USMNT players could never compete for a World Cup. 36 hours after the fact. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell with the big money. Was this Chris Canny? Is LeBron's best fit in Miami alongside Giannis? I think it'd be better in Philly. Because you have a young Maxey, you have Jaylen Brown. If whatever you get out of Embiid, you get out of him. And LeBron is a cyborg from another time and place. Let's see. Here comes the circus. Royals gift Mets with 3 runs on 3 errors in 1 play. Yeah, but what was the final result? Yeah, so that's that. Why Coco Gauff's a favorite to win first Wimbledon title? Well, even though she's playing some high top ranked players, but yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with the baseball. Let me see anything else. Let me go to Yahoo. There's a very abrupt ending. I know Jason Tatum said things about Jaylen Brown. Even they came out with a not as simple as 10 LeBrons why the U.S. still isn't a World Cup contender. I mean, listen, we know the obvious. I mean, that's why I brought it up today. I would have brought it up yesterday if I had a live or a podcast, but let's see. Zavera blows past American Fritz for a spot in semis. Yeah, we know that. Do you really support Conor McGregor? No, I do not. When is that fight with Holloway? Is that Saturday? Yeah, I think that's it, people. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. Any comments? Let's see. Can I bring up the biggest snub? They snubbed Wheeler for the All-Star team in Philly. Yeah, they did. Yeah, the two biggest snubs, and I really don't follow it as much, but I did see it. It's egregious. And what? Wheeler struck out 14 last night? 36 years of age, coming off of that thoracic outlet syndrome. Wheeler, and how did Sonny Gray not make it? They put Ranger Suarez in because he's a former Philly, so I guess he's going to get one more ovation. Sonny Gray is 10-1. His ERA is, I forgot what his ERA is, in the twos. He's having a tremendous year and no love. 10-1, 2.61 ERA. His whip is 110. I mean, he's having a killer year. Ooh, that's a good one. Is he a free agent after this year? Sonny, what's his hold on. That doesn't matter. He probably is a free agent after this year. So the Red Sox could trade him, get something back. Oh, here we go. I don't have to Google it. I'm not going there. Mark, I'm not going there. Because he played in the game. End of story. Case closed. The end. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got. I can't believe you posted this. Showing a picture of him on first base doesn't mean he played the field as a base runner. No. Forget about as a base runner. Showing a picture of him on first base with a glove on means that he played the field. End of story. Game over. I'm not going there because, Mark, come on. We've watched it. We've seen it. Batted in the game. Wasn't a DH. The game was in Cincinnati. National League ballpark. That's it. Everybody's going to be like, oh, no, Jay Reels, please, don't do it. I won't. I'll leave it right there. With that, I actually may sign off, people. Yeah, because that's what we got. But we got a podcast tomorrow, as you know. Right here. I know I haven't done the podcast pregame in a while. Yeah, I know it's a little redundant. Podcast pregame to kind of talk about stuff and then to talk about it. I had fun, though, while it lasted. Who knows? Maybe before the football season, maybe I'll bring that back up again. But, yeah, right now, we just got the podcast 11 a.m. Yeah, I'll touch on some of the things we talked about today. The good thing is I didn't really unpack. Yeah, like Wimbledon. I know I talked about a little bit with Djokovic and Sinner. The soccer stuff, yeah, I'm trying to rehash everything that I just said. Not try to rehash. I'll probably rehash everything I just said now because you don't have any soccer today. You do have tomorrow. I'll go through the schedule tomorrow. I'll break down who I think will win these games. It may be chalk. If there is going to be an upset, who's going to be the team to have that upset? Oh, I'll get into all that tomorrow. But I have to talk about the big picture and how the World Cup has been phenomenal. So you heard that here now. You're going to hear it again tomorrow. I'll get into more of the baseball. We'll see where the Yankees, they got to win tonight because at least they'll at least earn a potential split. If they do, and Garrett Cole's on the mound, I believe Shane McClanahan, so that's a good matchup. We'll see what happens there. Yes, as Fuqua, a.k.a. Waffle Iron Walrus, a.k.a. Fuqua Johnson, wrote a pen mark, etc. Day one of the David Stearns watch. So we'll see how the Mets perform tonight against the Royals. Anything else that's happening in baseball? NBA's not quieted down. I won't even unpack the Brad Stevens thing. Listen, obviously we know that trade is over and out, and it's official. But anything else I need to pick up there? Obviously with the Wimbledon, NFL, not much to really get to there. So that will pretty much be the gist of it. And I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you guys and gals, of course, as always. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support big time. I see some comments. I'll get to that. Matter of fact, I'll get to that now. Why not? I was going to do my usual sign off. Let's see. Batting gloves, yeah. Hal Morrissey had batting gloves, I'm sure. Yeah, Jay, let's retire to PR, live like kings, and New York City. That's it. Now, I know you got to deal with hurricanes now, especially this time of year. It's hurricane season, and you probably won't hear of anything until you get to middle of next month. Actually, here we are now, almost 6 weeks in, and you haven't had any tropical storms yet. Now, watch I say that. There's going to be a million tropical storms. But, the tough time now to live in PR would be really from from early August to early October. And I understand that the hurricane season ends November 30th, but still. But oh man, would I love to do that? 1,000%. Oh, Zip, let's do it. Mark, not going there. Mark, I hope the check from Hal Morris clears the bank. No, let's not say that. Everyone watching, Mark, come on. We're not doing this. And I understand you got a couple of insults there towards Waffle. Not going to put that on there. But Zip, I'm with you. Or it could be whatever, Costa Rica or, just, I don't know. Thing is, you have to get up early to go run, 6:30 in the morning. And I know in September down there, they usually do that, what is that race called? Hold on. Race in September. And I think it's 3 days. Isn't it 3 days? You do, I think it's 1 day, 5K, 10K, and then a half marathon. Hold on. No, not cycling. Oh, is that at the Lola Challenge weekend? Oh, there it is. Hang on. Damn it. I clicked on this. I didn't want to do that. Hold on. What is the 3-day race in Puerto Rico? Yep, the Lola Challenge. That's all light work. Friday's a 5K, Saturday 10K, Sunday half marathon. When is that? September? Yeah, that's a tough time. Yeah, they got it 2026. And how much is this? People like, Jay Reels, we don't care about this. My apologies. Hold on, metal. No. Oh, here we go. How about shop? Is that merch? Yeah, I don't want to deal with merch. But anyway, yeah. So it's 5K, 10K, and then half marathon. All light work. Went there. Oh, did you go there? Yeah. When did you do that? Oh, it's in November now. Yeah, no, it's brutal. I mean, it's funny. Oh no, I love it 1,000%. You know what's interesting? I ran this morning. I mean, it was beautiful this morning. But last week I ran Wednesday and Friday. And remember, those both of those days, Wednesday was 100. I ran in the morning though. Friday was rough though. Friday, I think it was already like 83 degrees, and that was at 7:40 in the morning. But yeah. And where are the let me ask you, Zip, where are the routes? Probably in the Condado, right? It probably runs into Old San Juan. That'd be my guess. Mark Salmons, quick question. No, geez. Come on, Mark. Yeah, and I'm on their page, but it doesn't really events, participant. Let's do this. What is the course? Challenge PR. The route traditionally begins with Luis Munoz guiding runners through Old San Juan, Condado, and El Moro. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, that'd be great. The main event featuring a sweeping scenic course that goes through Old San Juan, Condado, Ocean Park. And oh, man, I would love to do that. And it's in November. Yeah, November's a tough month, though, for me also. I know one of these years. You know the one I want to do, Zip? I want to do the Miami Marathon. Yeah, it's the Old San Juan run for. Oh, man, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd like to do the Miami Marathon, which starts downtown, goes over the causeway. That's the 195, Julia Tuttle. No, maybe the 395. And then it goes through South Beach, up to the next causeway, then down into Brickell, and then back to downtown. Oh, 4:30 in the morning? Is that? Yeah, I know it's dark. But it's weird because I know that race is in January. So, yeah, generally January, that could be tricky. You could get one of those days where, listen, a 50-degree morning for New Yorker is nothing. I know for the Floridian, it's a different story. But yeah, obviously you don't want people passing out because if you do get, although it's not going to be as humid, but if you get mid to upper 70s, and if you start late, I always thought that started at 6. But no, I hear you, Danavis. Yeah, I would love to do that. Oh, the Lola race starts at 4:30. No, that makes sense because, yeah, once you get that heat, forget it. Yeah, I'm into all that stuff. Yeah, definitely got to do that. Yeah, I haven't done a Spartan race in forever, but you kind of got over that. I know they're still out there, but the one race I missed, and the novices aware of this, you witnessed it a couple times, was here in the Bronx. There's a beach, Orchard Beach, but they have an island right next to it. Well, it's attached. They call it Hunter Island. And they used to do an obstacle course race there. They had a 5K and a 10K. I think I did the 10K 5 times. The first one, did I do 3? I may have done a 5K the first time, and then I went 10. I have to think about that. No, that's a lie. I think I did do the 10K. Yeah, but that was great stuff too. That's a thing. I first did that. That was October 2011. It's going to be 15 years. Oh, my God. Where does the time go? I know I have pictures somewhere of that. And you were there, the novice, too. Oh, man. That's another lifetime. Yeah, it's dark, starts, but daylight when you finish. It's a beautiful route. Oh, man. I would love to do that. What is this you're saying there, Mark? I'll have to rewind. Gave his name. I'll look her up. Okay. Toppers. Yeah, I know. I'm just not posting in the chat. I know it's here. I'm trying to police it, but, you know. Oh, what is this? If you're interested in a run club, is doing a Yankee Stadium to City Field race 9 months. When is that? Oh, the 25th this month? 25th. That's a Saturday, right? Saturday. What am I doing that day? So it's Yankee Stadium to City Field, not vice versa. Because then I got to get back. So that means, unless I take the train back, I guess I could do that. So wait, it's just the run club. So is it sanctioned? It's not one of those like, are you doing that? Zip? And what time is it? Maybe get Waffle to come out. 9 for 9. Community run from Yankee Stadium to City Field happens on Saturday, July 25th. Oh, Team Wepa. Okay. The unsanctioned race starts at 4 p.m. Oh, wow. It's that late? I don't mind that, but it's like middle of the day. I thought it'd be like first thing in the morning. Registration available. Let me see. Yeah, I got to check this out. Hold on. No. Yeah, I got to check that out. No, that sounds awesome. Yes, Toppers, you tell them. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Uh-oh. Run clubs are secret hookup cults? Oh, so you wouldn't do that, Waffle Iron? Volunteer? Well, so if I volunteer... but you know what, Waffle Iron? You don't have to get wrapped up in the politics and all that. You just go to run. No, and I've heard stories about run clubs where it's like, oh, man, it's... And listen, do they set out to have secret hookups and things of that nature? I don't think so, but... And, you know, that's tough to monitor also because you want people to get together, have fun. Yeah, if you get people that meet and connect and whatever, you know, can't control that. But depends on I guess it depends on the person who's running it and the integrity. Now, they're not going to stop people from linking up, hooking up, or whatever. But yeah, you could kind of get, I'm sure you could get the vibe of a run club if you know it's strictly like, oh, yeah, this is a little bit different. And not that I've experienced that. I've only run with one club here, the Boogie Down Bronx Runners, I believe that's what it's called. I ran with them a couple of times, one in the summer and one in the winter. And this was many years, this was before COVID. It was cool. You know, it didn't seem like people had the roving eye or people like, hey, what's your name? I didn't get that. Now, I'm sure there are clubs that are like that. Oh, and I actually run for another club, too. I just fibbed. Shout out to Norma, the Badass Run Crew. I ran with her one time in January many years ago. 4 years ago, maybe 2022. And that was a good time. And Norma, I know she's been in Spartan races. I've known her for years. But, yeah, I didn't get to feel like, oh, wait a minute, this is a little strange. Like everybody's trying to hook up. So yeah. Mark, I want trouble here. That's it. Nobody wants trouble. Just here to have a good time. Zippy doing a Lola run this year. Oh, not this year. Next. Oh, okay. Had too much fun even in the heat. When did you do that, Zip? I'm curious. Just volunteering? All right. All right. What is this? I know Mark with his channel. Mark has 0 channel. He obviously has a channel here. Mark's fake channel. Rumble is what Mark would go public with a bomb. All right. Jay Sugar, Boogie Down Bronx Earners, or we run Uptown. Yeah, I know. They run on Tuesdays, I believe. Well, once upon a time they did. I know the few Bronx ones, they have Mile Stylers, Bronx Nomads. Those are the 2 run clubs that I'm aware of off the top of my head. And Waffle Iron. So, yeah, you wouldn't do a run club? To go back to this comment. I'm getting a text here. I don't know what that is, so goodbye. Yeah. I know when I see that comment, it's almost like I don't want to say a Dateline thing, but yeah, watch they have some, I don't know, some news outlet say, hey, are run clubs all that? Or is just a feeding ground for people to get their rocks off? I don't know. I run slow, older fan. Oh, no, so what? It doesn't matter. As long as you run. Listen, by any means, I'm not, to use an old, what's it called, Alberto Salazar. Now, you got to go back in the history books for that one, or Bill Rogers. Those guys used to win on the regular, the New York City Marathon in the early 80s. Alberto Salazar. Is he still around? He's a coach now. 67. Yeah, he is. Salazar competed in track and field in high school. Salazar won the New York City Marathon 3 times in the early 80s and won the 82 Boston Marathon. So he won that 3 times. Well, 3 straight years, 80, 81, 82. You know what? Can I find him? Maybe I should look him up. I'll put him on as a guest. Why not? And Bill Rogers. I don't know if he's still with us, though. Bill Rogers, I know he also won a couple, too. Oh, wow. He's 78. Wow. So he's 11 years on. Yeah, look at that. He won. See, this is how you know I'm a kook. These guys, I couldn't even tell you who won the last, whatever, 30 marathons. But I remember Bill Rogers. I remember Greta Weitz. She was an excellent. I think she won the New York City Marathon like 8 times. May she rest in peace. I know she's no longer with us. But, yeah, I remember Bill Rogers and Alberto Salazar. Those guys won all the time. And Rogers won, let's see. Rogers ran his first New York City Marathon, finishing 5th, 1974. Rogers won the New York City Marathon, Boston Marathon 4 times between 75 and 80. Wow. Yeah, so he won those. And I remember he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Bill Rogers. So look at that. From 75 to 80, he won 4 of them. I believe that's what it was right here, right? 4 times each. And Salazar won in the early 80s. As I'm putting everybody to sleep, I know with these comments, but what is this Trump people call it? Yeah, well, you're not wrong about that there, Mark. Ran low in 24, maybe falling with PR, started looking at real estate. Oh, really? Was that your first time there, Zip? Interesting. Oh, yeah, forget about it. I mean, they've dominated. And listen, give it up. Run a marathon in 2 hours. I mean, that's just forget it. All right, my good people. I think that's going to do it. Let me just check something here. Yeah, I have an appointment at 3, in fact, and I want to grab a bite before I do that. First time 5 was awesome. Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, you know, I got to definitely do that. Maybe I could do that next year. Yeah, I know September this month is going to be tough. Toppers, I appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us. Bio, you already know. You have a great sports day too. I appreciate everybody who stood for the whole 2.5 hours or somewhere around there, even before that, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whether you spend 5 seconds or the whole shebang, you know. I appreciate you guys. So with that said, tomorrow, 11:15, oh, excuse me, 11 o'clock, 11:15. Bite my tongue. As you see there, podcast tomorrow. Any last thoughts? I'll be able to shout them out. We all know for those who are on but not putting comments and you're watching for the first time, please subscribe. It's not going to hurt. If you like what you saw here over the last 2.5 hours, you say, wow, I can't believe that this guy just keeps talking and he just doesn't stop. No commercial breaks. I don't have to get up. No, I could do this for hours on end to the point where I don't know. It'd be hard to do because I'd have to do it in a studio or maybe go to someone's apartment that's not going to be there. But yes, I would love to do a 24-hour marathon. And I'm not talking about running. I'm talking about 24-hour live stream. I have to think. I have to consider that soon. Yeah, no, I would definitely love to. Oh, live for PR? Oh, yeah, I would definitely do a live stream down there too. Without question. And that'd be perfect because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I could do a podcast down there on Thursday. And then throughout the weekend, post here and there. And if it's in November, even better because the weather's better. I mean, it's always good down there, but. So, and I see why they moved it to November. I'm sure probably because of Hurricane Maria a few years ago. So, yeah, makes sense. But that'll do it, my good people. As always, thank you again. I know I profusely thank you guys. You're probably like, enough. We know, we get it, etc. But you guys are tried and true. Until tomorrow, 11 a.m., you already know, in the blood and the DNA, talking sports. We'll break it all down one more time. Enjoy the rest of your hump day. Peace, love, and God bless as always. I got it backwards. That's love and peace. This is peace and love as I bang my microphone. Hope I didn't screw that up. Well, until tomorrow morning, everybody, 11 a.m. Eastern, I got you. And I hope you got me, which I know you do. So until then, on the flip.